Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Henry, and this is Conservative Commentary. There are clear signs that the left hates America. But before we discuss the 10 signs that show that lefties hate America, I'd like to ask for a favor. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This really helps us grow the channel and get the message out. And also, please check out our other videos at youtube.com/@KennethJHenry. Now, there can be no doubt that the political left hates America. You remember David Letterman? He used to open his show with late night show with a top 10 list. And in the spirit of Letterman, I've identified 10 signs that demonstrate the left's hatred of America. Sign number 1. The left rejects the notion of American exceptionalism. While those of us who are true patriots believe America is uniquely virtuous and has a special mission to spread democracy and freedom in the world, the left focuses on what they see as America's historical flaws, such as slavery, racism, and what they call imperialism. Sign number 2. The left undermines traditional American symbols such as the flag, the national anthem, and the founding principles of the nation. Remember all the athletes who kneeled for the national anthem? You remember desecration of the flag and burning of the flag? You remember tumbling of statues of American heroes? And even renaming schools named after George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Abraham Lincoln. Sign number 3. The left criticizes capitalism as a system and argues that it exacerbates inequality, exploits workers, and prioritizes corporate interests over people. Now, this demonstrates a palpable disdain for our economic system that has driven American prosperity and provided opportunity for everyone. Sign number 4. The left often criticizes America's military and interventions abroad, calling them imperialistic or harmful to other countries. They oppose the Iraq War and even the War on Terror. They support Hamas over Israel. This stems from their hate of America and Americanism. Sign number 5. The left has a backward-looking focus on the past and point to slavery, racism, and the treatment of Native Americans as evidence that America is evil. Of course, this is an intentional attempt to undermine American pride and divide the populace. Sign number 6. The left supports socialism. Just look at policies supported by leftist politicians such as defunding the police, reparations, and guaranteed minimum income. This socialist agenda certainly undermines the American dream and the promise of success for those who work hard to succeed. Sign number 7. The left rejects traditional family values. Just look at their promotion of LGBTQ plus rights, so-called gender identity, DEI, and their view that parents do not have a say in their child's decision to transition genders. Sign number 8. The left prioritizes protecting the environment at the expense of economic growth in American industry. Think about their push to eliminate cattle because of their claim that cattle cause harmful methane gas. Or how about the elimination of gas stoves? EV mandates are yet another anti-American push by the left. Sign number 9. The left supports the millions of illegal aliens who have come into the country. This nonsensical support for these people fails to recognize the drain on resources such as medical, education, and welfare systems. And who can ignore the horrific crimes committed by illegal aliens, such as the murder of Laken Riley? The left argues that illegal aliens don't commit crime at a higher rate than those in the country legally, but the plain fact is if they weren't here illegally, they couldn't commit crimes here. Sign number 10. The left distrusts major American institutions such as the military, law enforcement, and the judiciary. They argue that there is rampant police brutality and that the legal system treats marginalized groups unfairly. The left hates free speech. Remember how Hillary and Kamala, as well as other lefties, call for screening social media to eliminate misinformation? Of course, misinformation means that you disagree with them. This attitude demonstrates how leftists view America as groups, not as individuals who have great potential. They view the government as a solution to all problems rather than believing in the innate talent and intellect of the American people. There's no doubt that the left hates America. Take a look at this clip from the Ingram Angle And please share your thoughts in the comments.
Free speech for them, not for you. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, America's left hates all things that Americans have generally supported, like Israel. So they intertwine Israel, America, America, Israel. It's all the same to them. Let them all burn. Now, let's imagine the reaction of the Biden DOJ and FBI if thousands upon thousands of America First Republicans organized protests that shut down the major freeways and bridges in places like California, New York, Chicago, disrupting air travel, car travel, and shouting these hateful chants about, let's say, illegal aliens and Biden himself. Well, we know what would happen to them. There would be a big press conference. It'd be probably called by some slick DOJ prosecutor. He'd announce his task force and the nationwide manhunt for the offenders.
Literally days after this event happened, we have already opened more than 170 subject files, meaning these individuals have been identified as potential persons that committed crimes on the Capitol grounds. Just the gamut of cases and criminal conduct we're looking at is really mind-blowing. The marching orders by federal law enforcement was to find, fix, and charge these individuals as fast as possible.
Of course, the media would lap it all up. They would nod in agreement as they did to Shurin. They'd talk about how hateful the crowd was, veins bulging. There'd be talk of possible RICO charges, conspiracy to violate civil rights. The absolute maximum punishment would be thrown at these protesters to put as many of those protesters in jail for as long as possible. That would be the goal. Some might be held in solitary confinement for months. Look, our system is set up to give broad discretion to our DOJ. It's supposed to be equal justice under the law, so discretion isn't such a bad thing. But in recent years, that principle has been shredded, and we've seen investigations colored by politics. It's very dangerous. The discretion to charge generally only is used in one direction now, and that's against conservatives. From the way they went after the J6ers to how they descended on people like Roger Stone, remember that? And what they're still doing to Donald Trump. Speak about what you consider to be the corruption of the court, and they'll throw you in jail, or at least threaten it. That's a tactic that would make Putin very proud. And the same analysis really applies to college campuses. Conservative students protesting with the same tone and viciousness as the pro-Hamas crowd would be expelled and blacklisted by every Fortune 500 company in America. The fact is, if you live or work in places where the liberal cult mindset dominates, then you have to say what they want you to say, and you have to do what they want you to do, or you're going to be punished. Look at what that hissing cobra, Megan Rapinoe, did to that poor Christian soccer player, Corbin Albert. She merely reposted a sermon about how transgenderism is wrong. She was forced to apologize. And then Megan Rapinoe, of course, took a bow. Now, everyone needs to understand what we're all up against. This new inquisition is very well funded and always seeking new targets. The Democrat slush fund, known as Act Blue, with support from George Soros, and big support, I might add, announced that it was helping pay the bail of any of the anti-Israel, anti-USA protesters who were arrested. Well, of course, the Europeans and the Canadians, they're suppressors of free speech. They've been at this game for a lot longer, and of course, the results there are a lot more shocking. Today in Brussels, the National Conservatism Conference was shut down by authorities. As Nigel Farage took the stage for his keynote, Belgian police arrived outside. Emir Keir, the mayor of the district where the event was being held, said he had issued a shutdown order to, quote, guarantee public safety. He added, the far right is not welcome in the city. Yeah, just the anti-Semites. Well, a few true liberals in Europe came out against the shutdown, but not many. And we all know that in their heart of hearts, the far left of today believes that certain people should not get free speech. MSNBC, CNN, they're always reminding everyone that they're only going to take a Trump event if the news of the day requires it.
Let me just tell our viewers, so I don't startle them, what we're doing. We have made a decision on this first day that if Donald Trump comes out and starts talking, we might want to listen to him for a little bit. We're going to do something. We're going to do it together. I promise we're going to come out of this if he starts lying or threatening people.
Others are urging that Biden not debate Trump at all, as we just said with that quote from the Atlantic magazine, especially bad because they're just essentially saying that he's subhuman, he's evil, and he doesn't deserve to be treated like a real candidate. Talk about election interference. Now, freedom of speech still exists for the left, but not so much for the rest of you. In fact, I think most sensible people, when you talk to them about these issues, if they have a traditional set of beliefs, or slightly traditional set of beliefs even, they just get used to self-censoring. They watch what they say all the time. It's the only way to avoid having their kids shunned at school or maybe even losing their jobs. Look at what happened to that poor senior editor at the taxpayer-supported NPR. After blowing the whistle on the pro-Democrat bias among what is overwhelmingly a liberal executive workforce staff there, his bosses suspended him. How's that for all things considered? Now, we're not dealing with the old liberals anymore. Get used to this. They used to relish debate. They were proud to be free speech absolutists. Today, the landscape is filled with landmines. And those landmines are planted by ruthless anti-free speech radicals. Say the wrong thing, associate with the wrong people, be in the wrong place, and yeah, they want you blown up. It's time to expose them as the sniveling cowards and wannabe tyrants that they are. It is time for all of us, each and every one of us, to be fearless. And that's The Angle.